Yo, welcome to the Spaceless Realms Podcast. Today, I'm here with Kalki, and we will be speaking about the psychology of dreams, what our dreams really mean, and how our dreams can correlate to reality. So, yeah, living the dream. That's a saying that I've been going with for a while, saying like living the dream. I'm living the dream. I'm living my manifestations. I'm living my creation, which I'm creating in this life. So, yeah, Kalki, welcome. Let's dive into it.
Thank you, Tlazukamati. I feel like that's a really good
Yeah.
place to start because we just covered that in the past podcast. We talked a lot about the dream realm and the implications of that to manifest your middle path in existence. The
Mhm.
dream realm is usually the higher spheres, but it taps into everything. And if you think about it, like we said before, in REM sleep, it's proven that 3 to 5 seconds of a full theta regenerative sleep can actually last hours or even days in the realms that we're dreaming in. So imagine that that's a key to immortality. That is something that allows us to actually be entirely free and entirely boundless, eternal, immortal. We can also age faster. We can die, come back to life. We can fly. We can have magic beams coming out of our hands. We can do practically anything. We've tapped on this subject. We've touched on this subject before. We've tapped into it before. But what's really interesting is that people, I don't think I could stress this enough. People don't grasp how vital that is to our evolution. Because if you don't remember your dreams, for example, in Russia in the 1970s, they did an experiment on some convicts where they suppressed their dreaming ability through powerful chemicals.
Mhm.
Most of them died in the experiment after less than 2 weeks from not dreaming.
Mhm.
So it's like if you kill people's dreams, quite literally or metaphorically, those people become slaves. They become like zombies. They become like ghosts, wandering ghosts in the realm of hungry ghosts, like Gabor Mate speaks of.
Mhm.
So it's very, very complex to realize the implications that that has on us. If you live the dream, literally you become a living superhero version of who you are. And the dream realms are half of our waking life, it's half of our existence, sometimes a little bit more or a bit less. But at the end of the day, that's literally half of who we are that's encompassed within a boundless, spaceless, limitless realm. And
Mhm.
we have access to all those abilities. Like on a full screen, you can be the star of your own production, your own series, your own movies, your own reality TV show in your dreams every night. And most of us don't tap into that potential. It's really ironic.
Mhm. Yeah, tapping into that potential, literally tapping into that potential.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, you also have to be careful of not living other people's dreams and following your own guide and creating your own dream that you want to create, not following like an implanted idea of a dream.
Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. And that's what Hollywood manufactures dreams for people, false dreams for people, custom design sometimes, but most of the time they don't even bother.
Hmm. What do you think of what do you think of Hollywood and the Jewish culture that's linked with Hollywood?
I think it's important not to confuse that. You know the difference between the Sephiroth and
Flip
the
off.
Sephiroth, the Torah, and
Yeah.
the Kabbalistic predictions that are encrypted within that as well. Too, there's a mystical matriarchal side to Judaism that's not explored, which actually comes from Africa and comes from Eritrea and Ethiopia.
Hmm.
So that's the original seed of Christianity in Black Hebrews. That being said, people misunderstand that some people hiding behind religions and claiming to be Jewish and claiming they're discriminated against because they're controlling the world through a world banking system and through other things like that are actually Jewish. It's like George Bush being called a Christian. It's like Donald Trump being called a Christian. It's like it doesn't equate, but I get what you mean.
Hmm.
To me, it's extremely insidious. It's pervasive. It's trying to control the entire planet. But it's not to be confused with Jewish mysticism to me.
Hmm. Yeah, seeing how like an average youth grows up in the Western world, they're very indoctrinated with a lot of just different things, just all sorts of different narratives and stories and archetypes that are controlled in the world. And then that leads them to being like a trapped ego in the world. And the reason why I'm speaking on this is because I definitely have experience in this area like we all do. So yeah, what do you think of that? How like the ego, like basically like what really fascinates me of how the mind creates that sense of identity and then is attracted to things of building that identity. You know what I mean?
I think it's kind of like social media culture in a sense, like Snapchat or like other places where you
Yeah,
can build your own custom avatar.
yeah,
Society tells us that we can customize ourselves, but it's through advertising and media and deceitful products that can cause toxic problems with our health, or that destroy the environment, or that abuse animals, or that all of it, all of the above. But then they tell you can customize yourself according to this famous person that looks a little bit like that, or you can do that. It's like they remove those, just like the rites of passages we were talking about. They remove these traditional rites of shamanistic evolution or shape shifting that we have to modify ourselves according to our own individual consciousness. They try to trend set and influence us to follow certain trends and patterns of behavior so we can behave in ways that they can market and profit off of.
exactly. That's what I was trying to say. Like they, yeah, market and profit off these different archetypes and lifestyles and everything like that. Yeah, very well said. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I always felt like I was like a mixture of everything. Like I was a blend of everything, but I was still just authentic and free to myself, especially when I was a youth. And especially when I was outside and in nature as a youth, say like jumping off the cliffs, like cliff jumping, swimming, building forts in the forest and stuff like that. Like I was always so free and not bound to anything when I was in that state. But then as you grow older and you learn the culture of making money, you learn the culture of working, you learn the culture of school, knowledge, everything, wisdom like that. Yeah, it really changes you. So yeah,
It
it's
does. It, like
it's
I said, it suppresses that creative and dreaming and mythological, intellectual, mystical, fantastic ability within use within less than a tenth of a century. Literally, the system is designed to kill that and kill those creative processes inside of
so
us.
fast, so quickly.
And then it creates this building of conformity. Like, say, for example, if I was raised in gangster rap culture, which I was, but let's say I didn't learn what I've learned about the origin of the Black Panthers, or the splitting up of the Bloods and Crips, or gang affiliations not necessarily being this family member that a lot of youth, family member feel thing that a lot of youth think is like this exclusive um, club that you belong to, that's like an extended friend group that you get protection from, yes, on one side, but on the other side, like, they drill us to either demonize that or to idealize it. We pick either the villain or the underdog, or we pick the superhero or the supervillain, but they always gave us these binary choices. So what I was going to say is, like, you were wearing that blue shirt and you're wearing that blue bandana. If I
Yeah.
grew up in blood culture, which I did, I would have been like, yo, I'm gonna bang on you just because you're wearing a Crip bandana.
Yeah, for real. For real, bro. Yeah, it's
I'd be like, blood for life. You
yeah.
Crip, I'm blood. Fuck you. But society drills us into those mind states without even realizing that we're playing within their archetypes.
And the where that all stems from is being in duality and living in like a dualistic state of consciousness and just of living in general. And that splits you from that unconditional love because unconditional love is like in the middle path of duality.
Yeah.
That's how I feel. And especially like as a Libra, balancing in that middle energy is just like, yeah, that's where my scales are balanced.
Yeah. And Libra, literally, libre in French, liberté, liberdad. It literally comes from freedom. to be free. Libra. You're free because your scales are balanced.
That's dope. I like that. That has to be a tattoo one day, man. To yeah, have that. Yeah, it's an
That's
honor.
bomb.
Yeah, like we should honestly dedicate a whole podcast to talking about how your astrological sign is your birthright and that is your power, you know?
Yes, but then also how we identify with all of them throughout incarnations. Like we
Yeah.
literally have to, it's like picking different video game characters throughout the ages. You have
Yeah.
to go through the whole zodiac in order to master, and some of those signs are more encompassing than others. For example, the Aquarius sign flows water and represents Virgo in some senses, but
Mm.
also flows fishes within the water, which is the original water barrel prototype of Enki or Ea, in Mesopotamian myths and Sumerian myths.
Yeah.
So he contains other signs within himself. That's the one that flows wisdom. But the fishes flow within the wisdom.
Mm. I love that. Man, we're definitely gonna have to dive into that on another podcast as well.
Yeah,
Talking
and then
about,
we should go through all the different traditions across the planet, the different zodiacs, the different calendars, and
mm,
how all of those, if you start looking at all the way that they map around the world, you'd realize that you're a different sign in every tradition and every culture, and sometimes they can be contradictory or complementary. But at
mm,
the end of the day, that encompasses the whole spectrum, depending on the traditions and the places you travel to and what day you were born under. You'd be a different sign. There'd be correlations in different cultures, but generally, like say for example, I'm Imux. We'll talk about it later, but I'm Imux and Chikome Mazatl in the Tzolkin, but that's a crocodile and a deer, but I'm a Wolverine in North America.
mm,
So you can see already that's three signs that you'd say that they're very far apart. The
mm,
crocodile, the Wolverine, and the deer, three very different species, but those are three of my main astrological signs in cultures across the Americas.
mm, mm. How does one go about figuring out their astrological spirit animals in that indigenous sense?
Traditionally, you would go into those different cultures, you travel around and you'd speak to people. That's how I've learned a lot of them. But
Yeah.
then also sometimes I would go online to double check, and I'd look in a library or I'd look in a book or I'd look somewhere and I'd be like, oh, okay, that's so that makes sense. That is what I am.
Hmm. So, is there anything else that you want to add?
Yo, I would say honestly, dream away. We need more dreamers. I've said
No.
that in a song before, we do not need more concrete solutions. We need more dreamers and seers to complete the blueprint. So having visions and having dreams is not that different. And manifesting your vision, manifesting your dreams, very similar principle. So
Mm.
I would say dream on, but be an activist too. Be a warrior too. Be a warrior and a dreamer. Be a warrior
Yeah.
and a wizard. Be a wizardess and a sorceress and a mesmer and a magician and a warrior and a Valkyrie and be everything you want to be. Don't limit yourself to one personality trait or one being or one concept. Like be everything you ever want to be and keep thinking you've got infinite time. You've got infinity ahead of you and infinite incarnations to be everything you ever wish to be in any existence. So dream big.
Yeah. Yeah, you look really dumb rushing in infinity, you know? There's no
Mm-hmm.
pushing
Yeah,
infinity.
you definitely don't look very smart doing that shit, but you never know. Sometimes you want to do a lot in one life. You can.
Yeah, exactly. Hmm. Yeah, it's a balance. Okay. I bless the space. Thank you to everyone who tuned in. Um,
Likewise.
yeah, I wish the best for all the energetic forces tuning into this space. And yeah, let's grow. Let's go forward.
Y'all want to give a big shout out to Coca-Cola and Du Maurier and Shell and Rexall for sponsoring our podcast. No, I'm just fucking around.
That would be
No, we
terrible.
don't have any sponsors, no supporters, no anything. Fuck the giant corporations. My apologies. I just felt like being spontaneous.
Yeah, the only sponsorships are the flora, the fauna, the nymphs, and all of the forces throughout the cosmos that are bringing our evolution and growth, everything along those lines.
That
Yeah,
was the best way to say it.
but yeah, yeah, we're creating a new world. Let's go.
We are. Venus Project.
Venus
Peace.
Project.